The Odyssey, Book 5. In a council of the gods, Athena brings up Odysseus' imprisonment on Calypso's island. Athena is Odysseus' patron goddess. She'll come up a lot elsewhere in the story. Zeus sends Hermes to tell Calypso that Odysseus must return to Ithaca. He must set sail on a raft made by his own hands and will reach Sherry for Xenia on the 20th day. So this is his fate, even though I don't know how much you know about the Odyssey, but you'll learn from everything else. But this is actually the kind of nearly the end of Odysseus' journey. We're going to be told what happened before this in retrospect in his memories. But Poseidon has essentially been his arch nemesis, trying to destroy him and his men. But even Poseidon, a god, cannot change fate. So Odysseus is fated to sail at this point and to reach Sherry, whether or not any of the gods help him or not. Hermes flies to Ogygia, which is Calypso's beautiful island, or Gygia, however you want to say that, and finds Calypso singing and weaving with a huge fire at the hearth. It is described as having owls, falcons, grapes, springs, meadows, and even Hermes stops to admire it, which is, a god admiring something and means it is truly beautiful. Calypso asks Hermes why he's there, and then offers Xenia. They consume ambrosia and nectar, and Hermes delivers his message. She's very domesticated, singing and weaving. And this is the wrong order of Xenia. It's quite rude. What you're supposed to do is offer the food, the drink, rest, things to bathe with, clothes, anything that is necessary, before you ask their identity and before you ask what they want, unless they offer this information themselves. So Calypso is asking why he's there first, which means she's being quite rude, but she kind of redeems herself when she offers him ambrosia and nectar, which is the gods' food and drink. She gets very angry and criticises the double standards of the male gods. It was she rescued Odysseus and offered him immortality. So she says that the gods take mortal mistresses, but if goddesses do the same with mortal men, they are always punished. She did offer him Odysseus immortality, but he refuses. She promises to let him go, but will in no way help him. Then Hermes leaves. Calypso finds Odysseus on the beach crying and tells him that she is ready to help him leave. She tells him to fell trees, to make a raft, and that she will give him food, wine, clothing, and a wind. Odysseus, this is the first sight we have of Odysseus in the Odyssey, and he is crying. Now, some people say that this is unheroic, and it's a bad way to introduce him, but if we think about it from the ancient Greek sort of their perception, this shows that he's human rather than a god, and shows that he does have this urge to return to his family. He doesn't want to be stuck on this island, and sort of having an emotion can create pathos within the audience. So actually it could be considered also heroic, depending on how you interpret that term. Also, the fact that she's saying she's ready to help him leave, she actually pretends that it's her idea, even though we've just seen that Hermes forces her to do this. So she's kind of taking credit for this so that he'll still like her, because she is in love with him. Odysseus is worried about the sea and makes her swear not to trick him because he doesn't trust the gods anymore. They return to her cave and eat together. Now Calypso asks if he's determined to go back to Ithaca, even though he will have misery on the sea and could easily stay with her. Again, this is his fate. She says that she is much prettier than Penelope, and Odysseus agrees, saying that Penelope is only mortal, but that he must return to his kingdom. So Calypso is trying to trick him into hubris, so basically saying that his wife is prettier than the gods, because then she can have vengeance. But he is one of his epithets is resourceful Odysseus, or cunning Odysseus, so he's very intelligent, and he notices this, and so doesn't claim that his wife is more beautiful than a goddess. This also suggests that power is more important than his family, because he hasn't mentioned Telemachus, and the only mention of Penelope has been from Calypso rather than him. And then he even just says that he wants to return to his kingdom rather than return to his wife. This could be a something for him to get out of committing hubris, by saying no, I just want to return to my kingdom. However, it could be showing that the power and the land is more important than family. They then have sex, which is standard for Odysseus and standard for a classical hero. The next day, she gives him the tools and materials to build his raft. This is kind of ironic because she had sworn to Hermes that she wouldn't help, so this also shows her true love for Odysseus. This takes 4 days, and on the 5th he leaves the island with food and wine. Calypso sends him off with a gentle breeze, and then he sails for 17 days and sees Phaeacia on the 18th. Phaeacia is also the same place as Sherry. It's where he's destined to end up. Poseidon returns from Ethiopia and is furious to see Odysseus so close to the end of his Odyssey, and he creates a huge storm. There is darkness and waves, and Odysseus wishes he'd died a noble death in Troy. So death in war meant great chaos, and death at sea where no one knows where you are, or anyone who finds you probably won't even know who you are, is not great for your chaos. A huge wave tosses him off the raft, which snaps in two. Odysseus climbs onto one bit of the raft when Ino takes pity on him and tells him to strip and swim to Phaeacia. She gives him her veil for protection and tells him to throw it out to sea without looking when he lands. Ino is a minor goddess, and so he ignores her because he doesn't trust her and he thinks that the gods are out to get him. However, after another huge waves, he decides to follow her advice because he's not really got anything else to do. He ties the veil around his waist and begins swimming. Poseidon is happy with his revenge and returns to his palace. And it is only after Poseidon has gone that Athena comes and helps. So she calms the wind and makes the north wind flatten the waves. This is important because it shows that she is respecting Poseidon, even though she disagrees with him. She's letting him do his bit, have his anger, and then she comes in and stops it and helps Odysseus. Obviously, Odysseus doesn't know that she's calming the waves, so he probably feels a bit of resentment towards her at the moment for not helping. Odysseus swims for 2 days and 2 nights, and on the 3rd he is very close to Sherry. There are no coves or harbours, only jagged rocks, so he considers what to do. As a wave pushes him towards the shore, Athena gives him the idea to grab onto a rock. As the tide comes back out, pieces of his skin stick to the rock, which is a nice bit of gruesome imagery that Homer portrays there to make it realistic and sort of graphic for us. Athena then gives him the idea to swim to a stream, clear of the rocks. He prays to the river god to check his current and then swims to the shore, throws the veil out to sea without looking and kisses the earth because he's finally on safe land after all this sea and storm and swimming. So chronologically, this is kind of the first time that Athena has actively helped him in this book, which is unusual because in his retrospect we would assume that she's helped him there, but there is no evidence of it. However, at the same time, what we are being told in his memories are what he is aware of, so the things he knows, the things he's been told, his experiences. Therefore, Athena could well have been helping him in some of these situations and he just wouldn't have been aware of it. So that's something to consider. But from what we're told, this is the first chronological time that Athena has helped him. Odysseus debates whether to stay by the river and potentially die of the cold or sleep in the woods and risk being killed by animals. This shows his knowledge of travelling, etc., because he knows that these are 2 options and he's trying to work out which is the best. He climbs to the forest and finds a clearing, creeps under a pair of bushes which are so closely intertwined that no wind or rain can get through, then makes himself a bed of leaves and goes to sleep. Obviously this is a bit of poetic license because it's quite unrealistic that this is a thing, but that's just Homer giving a good description for everyone to envisage it. it is worth noting here that it is still naked at this point, because that will be important in the next book. Okay, thank you for listening. This is my book 5 summary. More will be coming soon.